It's being recorded at the moment. So everything you do here will be recorded. Okay. Wow, poorly planned. Okay. Everyone be apolitical about this, okay? I know there's been a change of government recently. They've done a good job, they've done a good job. If they've done fairly, they've done fairly. If you feel that you have been poorly planned, say so, it's been poorly planned. Right? And I thank you everybody for being very honest in terms of your cash flow situation currently. Okay, so we've pretty balanced, except that most of the people here have so far mentioned that they are, well, at half of them here so far have mentioned, only 37 have polled. Half of them mentioned that no financial buffer or less than 3 months. Okay, so that would be a pretty interesting question. So I'm going to share the result to everybody. Okay, but we will need to start very soon. So I'm not going to do another polling. Right, we will be having another poll or maybe 2 more at the very end. Okay, I'll be sharing one on feedback on the very end, so for everyone to answer. Right, we will be starting in the next 2 minutes. Okay, 4 more minutes and we will start. Okay. Right, gentlemen, are you all ready?
Good. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
yes, yes.
can hear me, yeah? Okay, good. All right, I'll be sharing, I'll be stopping the poll in a few minutes so that everyone, if they come in, they can see this. Right, this is based on the poll. For those of you who just joined us, this is based on the poll that was taken earlier. Give and take about 40 people answered the poll, just to have a rough idea what is happening. If need be, I'll share this poll again later, right? But there's a few other questions that I want to ask every single individual in the session. So it'll be good. All right. Please, okay, answer the poll if you are asked. Okay, 2 more minutes and we will start. Let's start on time. Right, ladies, gentlemen, I'll do a quick introduction of myself this morning, and then I'll talk about the topic a little bit. But very quickly, I will definitely come to all 3 of you. So can we have Dato Chua start first, and then after that we will have Rajan, and then after that we have Keng. Are we okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone.
But you might have a content from
I will also stop all the sharing. Okay. Now, one last thing on the poll, very quickly. Slightly more than half of the people in the room mentioned that they have less than 3 months of financial buffer. Less than 3 months of financial buffer, right, for their business. And then the other, well, I would say over 66%, 68%. So more than 2/3 mentioned that the Malaysian government assistance to SMEs so far has been poor, okay, poorly planned. We will start in a few minutes, okay, in a minute or 2. Okay, hi Zora. Okay, right. First and foremost, thank you very much for being here this morning. My name is Jeremy. All right, I'm from a company called ATCEN. We are a training provider and also a conference producer. I hope some of you have actually attended our conference before. We actually do about 2 to 3 conferences a year. As a matter of fact, because of the COVID-19, one of my conferences that was supposed to be scheduled in March had to be rescheduled. We scheduled it all the way to July, and I'm not even sure whether we are going to be running it now. So COVID-19 and all these things that happened in the last few months, it's not just COVID-19. For or Malaysian. We have also had a recent change of government. We have also got the drastic drop in share prices worldwide. Right? Oil prices so far. Oil prices is now about 25, 26 USD. The market is, well, some may beg to differ, had rebounded a little bit, but we are not sure whether this rebound is permanent. Okay, I'm quite sure Rajan has something to say about that. With me today is three very distinguished individuals. Okay, they are going to be talking to us about how, as SMEs, we can be more financially sound in this situation. Because no matter what, 1 month of lockdown is going to be very drastic. Okay, and of course, when the order came out, it was very, very fast, quick, and we only had 24 hours to do whatever. As a matter of fact, the day that I'm not going to call it lockdown, the day the MCO came out, I was actually doing training. Okay, I was having a 2-day training. So Monday was a training day, Tuesday was a training day. I actually had to cancel my Tuesday training with participants in a public workshop. It's because I felt everyone would want to go back to their office to settle things. As a matter of fact, I myself wanted to go back to the office to settle things. Okay, to be fair. So there was a lot of things to be done. And of course, now that it's been extended by another 2 weeks, there is definitely going to be a lot of issues for us. Bills need to be paid, rent need to be paid, and everything. Now, my background, very quick one, very short. I'm actually a chartered accountant by training. So we've got 2 chartered accountants here, and Dato, Chua. And also, I've got a master's in engineering business management. I've been with ATCEN for the last 13 years. I'm one of the founders of ATCEN. Okay. With that, what I'm going to do is just pass it off to Dato. Dato, are you ready to do a short introduction of yourself? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jeremy, for inviting me. I'm a Dr. Chua, the co-founder of Cheng and Co Group. It's a one-stop professional center. We have 17 branches throughout Malaysia and 4 branches in overseas. Thank you, the organizer, to organize such a wonderful sharing section. In fact, I have a section I suppose to be a section on 24th of March in Sabah, invited by a Vistage group for sharing. So I've been past a couple of 2 weeks, prepare a lot of COVID crisis. And that would be a wonderful platform for me to put so much of this material and to be shared with this wonderful group this morning. Shall I pass back to, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Chua. Okay, Rajan?
Hi, Jeremy. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Rajan Devadasan. I'm a licensed financial planner. The license is from the Securities Commission. The license is through my financial planning principal company, Manulife Investment Management. I'm CEO of a small consulting firm called RD Wealth Creations in Riyadh Berhad. If you want to hear more of my views, we're going to be just running things as a panel. You can always go to the BFM website, and check the podcast section. You have maybe 50 that I have done over many things over the last 12 years. And I also write the financial planning column for the Sunday Times. So if you feel inclined to spend money on the newspaper, buy the paper. Otherwise, just wait one day and then go online, go to the NSD site, do a search on my name. The financial planning column is called Money Thoughts. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, thank you, Rajan. All right, Keng Teck.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Keng Teck here. I'm the founder and the managing consultant for the BizSphere Brand and Marketing Group. We do a lot of the brand and business consulting for targeting on the SMEs. We have been doing this for almost 14 years right now. And I'm also the National Vice President of the SME Association of Malaysia, which is the only association representing the SMEs to liaise with the government, to engage with the government, be the voice of the SMEs. And for the recent 1 week, we have been busy visiting the government agencies to seek some programs and some recommendations to them to actually benefit the SMEs so that you all can weather the storm for this crisis. Yep.
Hi, Thank you very much. Right, these three distinguished gentlemen, thank you very much for having us and joining us for this webinar and sharing your view on what's happening. A very quick one, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you, if you click the participant button, right, at the bottom of the screen, what you'll find is that you would have this thing called participants. There's already 100 participants on this session, so we are full house at the moment. But more importantly, what I'd like you to do is, if you click on that, right, you will see that there's a yes, no button at the bottom. If you are, click yes if you are an SME, click no if you are not an SME. That means an employee. At least we have a rough idea how many people are from SME and not from SME. So you see there's a yes and a no button. So just click for us so that roughly we will know. Okay. I'm just gonna let it go for a little while. Yes if you are representing an SME, no if you are not in an SME. Okay. So that at least I can tell the analyst what's happening here. So very quickly, first question for everyone. Let's do some very quick warm up, right? Let's start with anybody who wants to start. How has the last week been? Okay, right? So how's the last week been? Right? Who likes to start? Okay.
May I start? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. The last week I thought it's just my birthday on the 18th of March. I thought, wow, wonderful! I got 2 weeks to celebrate my long birthday. But the birthday not end for so much. After the 2 days, you will start receiving call from the client, call from the team, what to do under the MCO and all sort of thing. So those are the cover on the business area, on the big issue. How is the cash flow they're going to do? They less than 3 months to survive in this kind of financial crisis. The second issue will be what to do with all the staff. Some of them we can't pay them. They under the MCO, they can't perform the job and also think how can we pay them. And also we also have a client. This from the overseas client. They're supposed to kickstart operation of a restaurant. Invested a couple of million in a restaurant, and investor from China stopped. I refuse to pump in more capital. So he start, it's just a week to go and to launch. So they're asking for what are the alternatives, what can he do and all sort of thing. So to make, in my life, it make it, compare with before the MCO, I thought, I first time see that I so much of work to do and so much to have a Zoom meeting with the team, with the client, to solve their issue and also things. That will be my last couple of days of life. Thank you, gentlemen.
Right, thank you. I think everyone is facing that issue. Okay, Rajan, why don't we go to you? Right, I'm not you.
It's been fairly intense because the vast majority of my clients are business owners, and then also senior and mid-management staff. What I have done is I have actually gone in the last couple of weeks, I've gone very aggressively to cash. Now the markets have actually been flying for the last 3 days, which is nice to see. It's a bit disconcerting for me because, I've gone heavily to cash. But my view is that a lot of the market jumps we are seeing right now are caused by computer program trading, algorithmic trading, the US, but the West as well. So if the markets stay up, that's actually very, very good. But I wouldn't be surprised if they come plummeting down again. And from a fundamental analysis perspective, I would assume that we're not really going to see a marked improvement in the global economy until the global number of infections hits a peak, and then we see a steady decrease. Until then, I would rather err on the side of caution. So certainly throughout the entire 1 week plus of the MCO, I've had many phone and online meetings with clients, generally assuring them that I've already gone to cash. And I find that my clients are actually falling into 3 specific categories. Those who are okay, their income is still all right, but they're shell-shocked and they don't want to do anything at the moment. There are those who are really hurting, as in business income is down or non-existent, or their salaries will be cut, there is no choice, or they may lose their jobs. And then there is the third group that is very enthusiastic and wants to start investing now. And then I keep telling them, do not invest now. I want the money in the portfolio, so transfer online, but move it into the cash portion, because I believe things will get very ugly before they get better. And I can say a lot more about that later, Jeremy, but I'm afraid I've taken too much time.
Right. Thank you very much. Right, Keng Teck, your turn now. Let's go.
Okay, for the past weeks, firstly, even before the day before the MCO, I have already announced to my team to work from home, and all the guidelines on how are they going to report to us, what are they going to do, we have already settled that. I'm glad that I did that one day before. Then throughout the whole week, being the National Vice President of the SME Malaysia, together with my fellow council members and my president, we have been visiting various government agencies, including the MOHR, MITI, Prime Minister Department for the Economy. And most of the time I spend in MITI because I received a lot of phone calls in terms of that SMEs, manufacturers unable to operate, and they are into the essential goods. So for quite a number of days, I have been there to assist them to get through to see what's happening, to get the approval done, so that we, all the Malaysians, will get the supply during these few weeks. Family side, good. Together with my family, we have been sleeping late nights because of watching of the Korean drama. That is the good side of it. Family bonding is very important. So please use this opportunity to bond together and to plan for the future of your business. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much, Keng Teck. I think a lot of us have been having some sleepless nights. It's good that you are having sleepless nights because of what you call Korean drama, right? Now, very quick one. Okay, Keng Teck, why don't we start with you? But before that, everyone, just to let you know, I know there was supposed to be a banker in here this morning. However, the news got out that he was speaking. Well, basically, the banks are in a very, how do I put it, uncomfortable position at the moment. So they prefer him not to say anything, right? So that even though he's coming in on a personal capacity, they choose not to have him say anything. Keng Teck, why don't we start with you?
Yep. Sure.
Since you are the National VP for SME Association Malaysia, and I've been seeing a lot of your Facebook tweets and things you have been really, really at MITI. So a lot of people out there is saying the government is not doing enough. So can you please share a little bit more about what the government has done and what are some of the insights that you've had, because you really have spent a lot of time in ministry.
Okay. Now, when I share about what the government have been done, there are two sides of it. Now, number one is that the government has really put on a lot of effort in strategizing what to do. Okay, that is the effort side. But the other part of the angle that we should discuss also is that whether is there any coordination between the ministry. Okay, first I go to the effort first. So we have visited the Ministry of Human Resource, Prime Minister Department, and MET. They are the ones who have invited us to have the dialogue. Okay, that's the first most important thing. If the government doesn't invite the industry to go and have a dialogue and engagement, they wouldn't understand what is happening down here. So that's a good thing they have done. Number two is that a lot of the ministry, when they get the input from us, they get a lot of input. There's so many input that they get that sometimes they're also confused. Number two is that even if they get the input, after they consolidated it, what they're going to do is that everything would have to go back to the MKN, which is Majlis Keselamatan Negara. And this is the unit to do all the decision making. The ministry itself cannot do the decision making by themselves. So everything will need to go to the MKN to make the decision. That slows down the process. So that's why a lot of SMEs says why this is not out, why that is not out, and so forth, because it takes time to do the engagement, consolidation, summarize it, and then for the MKN to make the decision. That is the process has been done. Okay. And spending time, I have to say that some of the government agencies, and I liaise and engage with MITI, Ministry of International Trade and Industry the most, where they are responsible for the manufacturing sectors. a lot of people doesn't know. Yeah, a lot of the applications for the approval to manufacture has gone in. You all have not received your approval yet. But from yesterday, the last day, yesterday I was there, MITI actually received a total of approximately 10,000 applications. 10,000 applications from SMEs to operate for their manufacturing sector. Now, 10,000, how are you going to approve 10,000 applications within just 1 week? Okay, and they are already getting their agencies like Matre, MIDA, and so forth to come in and help, and they have been working for 24 hours. Believe me, it's 24 hours, and they're taking shift of that. And yet, I have to say that the way that they are processing is somewhat still rather manual. The first day that we welcome the MITI welcomed the applications, the server was down. So a lot of the application would need to go to the email, which slowed down the process as well. And the other thing that I want to highlight, which I have highlighted a lot in my Facebook post, you all can actually read my Facebook post, is that there are many of the non-essential goods SMEs are also applying to MITI. And there are many of the non-manufacturing sectors also applying to MITI. Why? The reason why is that the other agencies, like Consumer Affairs Agency, have yet to actually announce anything. Ministry of Transport has yet to announce anything. Like, you have manufacturers who have produced the good. What about the transportation? What about getting it out to be sold to other people? It's not well coordinated. So the coordination between the ministry has to actually be improved immediately. Right now, it's not. So that is a sad thing about it. Yeah. That's my comment about the ministry, yes.
Right. Okay, right. Anyone, if you got question for King Teck and based on what he has said, right, you want to ask questions about can I apply, should I apply, what is essential, not essential, please put it on the Zoom chat. But I'm going to move to Dato Chua and also Rajan at the moment. Okay, the government has announced a lot of different initiatives, from the facility to the moratorium, right? So what are your takes on this? Is it enough? Can we do more? Should they do more? Okay, right. One of you, Dr. Chua, you want to start first?
Yeah, yes, I can start first. My comment, it will be in this. In Malaysia, we have been experiencing the financial crisis in 1997, global financial crisis in 2008, and in organization, you have a personnel crisis, organizational crisis, technology crisis. But I think for the pandemic crisis, for a lot of people, including our government, maybe it's the first time to deal with all these things. So I think the moment what they do, I think they do their best to do all these things. They announced the first economy stimulation package in 27th of February 2020 by our ex-Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir of the 20 billion package to mitigating impact of COVID-19. They also try to put in all this, for example, the tax incentive for those people who spend more money to do their renovations on these premises. They will get tax deductible immediately. And also, they also deferment of a money tax installment for a period of 6 months for the business in the tourism industry. Then plus a contribution by employee from the 11%, they down it to 7%. And the last one I just going to mention will be division of the monthly tax installment. They also allow the business people, now you can't pay the tax installment due to the cash flow, whatever. You can apply to stop your CP204 and so on. And of course, this one is still early on the first economy stimulation package in 27th of February. Then come to the current D, I think people, especially we in Cheng and Co, our customer base, most of them are SME and SMI, and also I think they were felt government have not do enough. We still got a lot of things need government to do. You give us a tax incentive, it's not good enough. How about our current issue, like our cash flow issue, like our human resource issue? What are we going to do, and also a thing. So a lot of things are still unclear. For example, we talk about a human resource issue. Now everybody under the MCO work at home, work from home. But unfortunately, not all the sector are able to work from home. How about for those customer, they can't the employee can't work from home. What are they going to do? And the government from the human resource continue saying that you cannot stop, you cannot force them to take leave, annual leave or whatsoever leave. You continue to pay them. So a lot of people is on the doubt in the sense that how long am I going to pay? Am I going to survive after the 14th of April? That will be also is a hot issue from the SME. They felt government are still not do enough. They didn't have no clear direction for that. And of course, on the other side, on this SME, on the cash flow issue will be, yeah, now government do well. They say, okay, now just after this first stimulation economic package now, they add on another two to say that, all right, from now onward, all the loan you need to pay for the 6 months. I want to take this opportunity to share with everyone here. This one is a very important government decision to support all the people, including the SME and SMI. And in my view, will be people should know that even though there's a deferment of a loan payment of a money loan for 6 months, last term means that you are not paying interest. The interests are still on the compounding. It's only, I think, 1 or 2 banks, they exempted the compounding interest. The rest they still charge you interest on the interest. However, then the other thing will be, my advice to the customer will be like this. Yes, for higher purchase, please take them. Please stop all the payment of higher purchase because they cannot charge you extra interest because interest have been what I call is a straight line basis. So you got a saving of a 6 month, your car installment, whatever higher purchase installment, machinery installment, it will be free of a extra interest charge, but not for the housing loan, not for the commercial loan. And the third one is on the credit card. Credit card, they just announced that the bank must allow the consumer to restructure their credit card, unpaid credit card, from a maximum of 18%. Now they put it a maximum of 13%. So in my view, that you shouldn't take this credit card restructuring is you can pay off. You have to pay off 13% is quite a lot. You can't do it. And for those people who can't afford, they have to restructure of their credit card. Bear in mind that you have to restructure. After restructure already, 1 or 2 months later, please talk to your banker to convert your financial credit card restructure. Credit card installment to become a term loan. That will be from my side.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Dr. Chua. Right. There's a lot of things happening, and I'm quite sure that Rajan will enlighten us a little bit more about what he has been advising a lot of his clients and things like that. Okay, let's go.
Great. Jeremy, I want to just say things first. The market strength, the stock market strength of the last few days has actually been very surprising from my perspective. Right now, I think both for those of you who are the big bosses, you own your SME, those of you who are senior employees, you are employees, my advice is exactly the same. I'm actually optimistic. I believe that by the time we get to July or August, the worst of this particular pandemic-generated crisis is going to be past us, but we have to get to that point. So my one message, if you forget everything else I say in this call, my one message is raise cash. Raise excess cash. Raise as much cash as you can for your business. Raise as much cash as you can for yourself. My plan after this panel discussion is to drive out, hopefully not encounter too many police checks, and to actually go to the bank and make sure that I reload my wallet. So you might want to do that.
Hold on. Rajan, what are you implying on that?
No, nothing. The news has come out basically that they're going to tighten on the MCO, so it's going to be more difficult to go out and buy things. So when you buy, instead of going out like every day to buy a little bit of stuff, you may have to buy more. So just having cash would be helpful. It also calms me down. Many of us just pay with our credit cards. It's not going to be a problem. So don't worry about it. What I'm saying. Just saying that cash calms you down. I imagine cash calms you down as well. So with the unexpected strength in the market, I would actually advise you to sell aggressively. Don't sell everything. Stay invested because the markets will recover in a real way. But if you can, sell aggressively, raise some extra cash so you got money in the bank as well. Now, the MCO is extended to the 14th of April. This we already know. I personally believe, and I'm actually going to be writing this today as I try and finish my financial planning column for the Sunday Times, which is probably, because I write well in advance, I think this will come out in about 2 Sundays. I think there's a 50% chance that the MCO will be re-extended to the 30th of April. And beyond that, I think there's a 25% chance that we're going to have the MCO extended middle of May. You can tell in probability terms, I think it's dropping, but you still want to be prepared. You want to be over-prepared. So every time you go out shopping for yourself, let's say, right, I'm moving from SME to you personally, right? As head of the family, if you go out and get this done, buy a little bit extra and just keep in mind that you want to try and stock up your larders, let's say till the end of May to be very, very comfortable. Okay, so I actually put together a note because a few of my clients came back to me and asked me about the moratorium. And so it might be best for me. Again, this boils down to the advice that you as bosses will extend to your staff who are looking to you for leadership. And then also for you as the respective heads of your families as family leadership. So let me just read some essential advice that I have given to some of my clients. This has to do specifically with the moratorium. I'm just going to read so that I don't waste my time.
Be quick about it, huh? Don't mind. All right, thanks.
Oh, I can stop now and I can cover this later.
No, just do what you need to do.
Okay, so this is my advice. For my clients for whom I have already built up a portfolio and I've moved to cash, so I've got liquidity, even if they end up facing a reduction in income, I can make up the difference for many, many months. So that's not an issue. So this is to actually for clients who are in good shape. Further down in the note, I actually talk about those who are not in good shape. So let me read this. Remember that the deferred payment schedule will lead you to staying in debt for longer. That will mean you are proactively accepting creditor risk for a longer period. Please understand that in the medium to long run, my goal is for all my clients to be debt-free. Then at that later, the cash outflow now wasted every single month on debt repayments in the future can all go toward juicing up your monthly retirement savings. For now, for my clients who are cash strapped, so this may be relevant to a lot of people, I recommend they take a car payment moratorium first. So in other words, I was quite heartened to hear what Dr. Chua said. I recommend they take the car payment moratorium first because cars will depreciate faster than our properties. The next step, if necessary, is to take the mortgage moratorium. There is no third step. Do not delay your credit card payments at all. Try to always pay them off in full. Some people might prefer to use a safer debit card. Some others who take my advice always overpay their credit card bills. There's a slight expenditure credit cushion that allows them to pay with their credit card but still not go into debt. Now that's cool for those of us who have battled in the past to beat our piling credit card debts into subjugation. I say us because I had credit card problems in the UK in the 1980s and then again in the early 90s. Now I'm addressing clients who are in good shape.
So what you're saying is for those people who have higher purchase, at what Dato has mentioned as well, to, well, basically stop them. But if you got credit card debts, please pay them if you can.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember, I said the first piece of advice was go to cash. Now, I've only got a little bit more. Finish this off.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Okay. Now, again, it's to clients for whom I have already protected and I've built up cash for them, okay? For clients like you who are okay for now and for whom I have already aggressively gone to cash and overall portfolio safety, if things drag a little longer than anticipated, allow me to pull monthly sums from your money market fund. Money market would be the cash portion of the portfolio, to permit you to balance your budget and make your payments with no disruption and to get out of debt with no added delay. I will support you in whatever you say. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to say about this. Any specific questions, or can we move on to Keng Teck?
Yeah, okay. What I'm going to do is this. I just want to launch a poll. I was typing this as we were doing it. Okay, by the end of, by June, how do you see the Malaysian economy going? Right, some of the panelists here are very optimistic. They say, yes, it should be fine. Some of them are going, right? But will it be back? Sorry, it's business as usual, not busy as usual. Business as usual. This is me typing on the go, right? Business as usual. Is it business as usual? Is it business as usual? So very quickly, please vote, right? There are 97 of you in the room. Okay, the 3 of us, of course. So please vote very quickly. What do you think? Okay, right? Better but still challenging means, okay, that's done. You know, it's very fast. I'm going to share the result now. All right. So this is where we are at the moment, right? Where we are at the moment. Gentlemen, what do you think, right? More than 50%, well, I would say, let's put it this way, nearly everyone says it's bad. It gotta not be business as usual, okay? So any comment moving forward? What should we do? What should we do as business owners, right? Gentlemen, who would like to go?
I'm not changing my advice. The advice basically was go to cash, raise the cash so that you have the buffer to continue.
The problem is some of us may not have cash.
This is why sell aggressively. If you got nothing to sell, then we got a real problem. Then it's a case of going to the bank and restructuring as much as you can.
Okay, right. What else? What else? What else can we do? Dato, what are you advising your clients, and Keng Teck, you know, what can you tell the industry to help us in? You know, we got employees who will come to us. Some people here, let's be honest here, may not even have much of a company to go back to if it's extended, like what Rajan is saying. If it's extended from 14th of April all the way to the end of April, I think some of us can officially say, let's go close shop.
Maybe I can give a comment on that. Now, yesterday, I just did some basic research that we have approximately about 10 million workers in Malaysia, 10 million. And SMEs is actually supporting about 60% of the Malaysian employment, which means that it will be 6 million. And if, let's say that this crisis going for another few months, I strongly believe that at least about 5%, up to 5% of the SMEs, especially those that is not so structured, would actually close down. And if 5% actually close down, there will be approximately about 30,000 people at least, okay? 30,000 people at least will be out of job. It is very worrying. It's very worrying. So that's why that right now, the survival of the SMEs are very, very important. And the survival is not only from the government support in terms of the moratorium or whatever. Yes, the government can ease your financial cash flow for this 1 month or 2 months. But let's be practical. There are a lot of the delivery of goods that we have not been able to fulfill. Money will not come in. There might be some of them that we need to deal with the legal things because that we're unable to fulfill. Your clients are actually giving you a problem, suing you and so forth. And to get your materials up, even if let's say the MCO is lifted by the next 2 weeks, okay, can you get enough materials to produce? So I will see that at least for the first 3 months, the SMEs would not get any cash in, and we continue to be having cash out. So in this aspect, the financial side, the money, I think next question will be, how can we get enough money? I think Rajan and Doctor would be able to advise better, because right now SMEs with no money, and for example, I have 2 projects being postponed and being cancelled. So what are we going to do? Marketing, no one will spend money on marketing. What am I going to do? So we need to actually come up with new business model already right now. We cannot wait until that day is over, then we think of what to do. We ought to use these 2 weeks or 3 weeks to actually plan out our business continuity plan. It is now to do that and not wait until it's over.
I mean, I'm quite sure a lot of people here have already launched their business continuity plan, but whether the big question here is, I don't think anyone has planned for anything this big.
Not even the government.
Not even the government. I don't think
Yes.
anyone has really planned. I mean, when we had the what you call it, the earthquake in Japan, when we had the SARS, the MERS, it was contained, it was located in one area. We had some disruption from Japan. However, this round, it seems like the disruption is everywhere. And even if we were to say, okay, fine, everything, the MCO is over. But that doesn't mean that America, Europe is not in a lockdown of some sort. So even if we produce, we may not be able to export anyway. So,
shall I just give some input here?
Please.
okay, quick on that. Yep. Yes, Arjun?
I want you just to bear this in mind, because in the weeks ahead, the picture that I'm about to paint may actually turn out to be true. America now has more infections than China ever did. China has now closed its border to incoming traffic because China's done a really good job. It's controlling. South Korea's done a really good job. Singapore looked like it was doing a good job, and then it spiked again. So border control is going to stay very, very tight. So from an SME perspective, apart from, raise cash, sell aggressively, what you have, assets to get more money, one thing that you could try and do is to reach out from within your customer base, find out which are the ones who are in a much better position from a cash perspective. Ideally, what you want to do is to find local customers. So it's not export driven, because that's going to be a problem to pick up eventually in the short term. You get local guys who still have cash, who can actually pay you. Easier said than done, but that's what you should be doing since you're asking for suggestions. And then what you do is figure out whether you can actually sell to them in advance over for their requirements over the next 6 months, over the next 12 months, over the next 18 months. Lock in those orders now and give them steep discounts that make things attractive to them, but will not wipe out your margin. But I hope that helps.
Clear some stocks as well, we have. Now, Dato, why don't I go to you? You represent you are the largest, from what I know, Cheng & Co is the largest Malaysian homegrown accounting firm. So please give us a perspective. I'm very sure a lot of the SME owners here would like to hear a full perspective of what are you advising your big clients.
Okay, thank you so much. I think first of all, the two speakers also mentioned about cash flow. Cash flow become a main thing. So in terms of this business SOP, I think every SME, including ourselves, had to look into collection become number one. You only can provide and continue to provide the services or supply the good to those customers who can pay you cash. No doubt this is a difficult period, but you can't continue to do the credit term because they're going to be very severe damage to your cash flow and also thing. That will be my first advice. And secondly, we also received the call and in the Zoom meeting to ask for previously I say about should I continue import or should I continue to get my supply and also a thing. So the question will be, you can't stop to buy your material. If not, end of the day after the MCO, you have no product to sell. So my advice to them will be, look, you still have to continue to make ready for your material, for your production and also a thing. But the other way will be also look into the existing product, especially some of the SME, they don't have a proper inventory stock and also a thing. Look at those old stock. What are you going to do in the old stock? Maybe it's a golden opportunity to give a special offer to sell it cheap and to sell it off, and that will be the way. And for the other thing we're talking about how to maximize the cash. We got one customer is one a big seafood importer. They got a big space of a cold room. They're asking me, Chua, should I import more and more and store up more and more because the thing are getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. I say, yeah, you think that is cheaper and cheaper, but end of the day, it's a matter of price. It's a matter of a cash. You may not able to survive due to you have no cash. So I share with SME now is not talking about the profit. You should look about cash flow. The cash is a king, the kind of mindset. So we advise this customer will be, you should clear off your old stock, create more space, more co-room space, and offer to your similar industry, your similar industry. For them, the space, you have not enough space, or they need a cold storage space, then you turn it to become a rental generating a co-room space for those people. That will be on the business model change. And then of course, I work from home. I have to find a new way. IT is become the key. So now all our staff, being in the audit or tax or company secretary, we are quite lucky in the sense that we are everything ready. In terms of the crowd, we can work from home. And for those small SME, of those who can't, we advise them quickly could go to implement the crowd accounting. So at least your invoice can continue.
Kamu tahu apa web liner tak? Okay, kamu mari tengok. Sebenarnya saya tengah attend satu seminar lah. So ini panelist.
There is a voice on that.
Apa-apa macam ni lah. So kita post kita sebab sekarang pagi orang keluar, orang tak mau keluar. Macam ni lah. So mereka cakap kalau dia ada bunyi lah.
They are disturbing.
Dia kata
okay.
There's one participant didn't mute.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I continue talk about the fundraising. How are you going to do the fundraising? We are quite lucky. Those people installment on the bank already deferred for 6 months. But I back to the just now I talked about the restaurants invested 4 million all ready to launch. Now you can't launch. Then your shareholder are the few to pump in more money. What are you going to do? So I say the option is always in that manner. Now you want people to raise fund to take over the operation. I think it's tough. It's not ready. So my advice to them, they have an option. The option is going for the creditor voluntary winding up. You have no choice. So the board director should call for a meeting, even though MCO, you still have to do it by whatever way, to call it for the creditor, this voluntary winding up. Then from that, you incorporate a new company and to invite those investors who want to come in to continue the business. People already sunk in 4 million and none of the shareholder wanted to continue to pump in. So what are you going to do? You cannot wait the shareholder to make decision. I think as a responsible board director, the board director had to call for the meeting and had to close down the business, and at the same time incorporate a new co. Of course, invite the existing shareholder whether they want to join or not. And the new fund coming up, there will be maybe $1 million. They will be able to take over and continue to run the business. They don't need to spend 2 million in innovation. I think there will be some of a creative way and a different way of looking on the fundraising. And of course, you still can out to those crowdfunding and all sort of things. I believe end of the day, business will continue. It's how long it's going to delay and all sort of things. Then the last thing I want to touch on the human resource. Just as I mentioned, human resource is a main issue at the moment for all the SME. So first thing first, I think they have to freeze all the recruitment, no more new recruitment. And secondly, to look at those people who want to design or whatever, they will just allow them in my organization. So happen with also a couple of staff who want to design. So those people, you just let it be, not going to fill in and all sort of thing. And if you really cannot survive, what are you going to do? I think you have to go to this labor office. Now they also accept you to file in online to inform, to register with them and start with your this so-called voluntary separation scheme, the one I offer to them. Whether they want to do the haircut, whether they want to take some money off, and for those people who can continue, they can continue. But of course, there will be a form to be filled in. I think it's called PK, 70 PK form. It's a lot document need to fill in, but I think you need to get it done. You cannot simply just lay off your employee. And the last thing is very interesting. Some of those people among themselves, for example, they are in the similar industry. They have been talking to each other. Okay, if I short an employee, I can you swap the employee? You just take your employee to come to work on my project, that kind of thing. I think there's also very creative way. It means that rather you either the staff stay at home and you got nothing for them. Now your peer need a staff. I wish they got the right skill to fill in. So immediately you switch the staff for them to work. Don't talk about making money or outsource the staff. As long as your staff can get paid, stay home, work from home, that will be wonderful, I think. So I touch a 3-point business model and the human resource and also the cash flow mentality. Thank you.
I'm just going to summarize it very quickly. I mean, I think all of you have mentioned very valid points. Cash is, of course, king, right? We need to have cash. And the other thing is, of course, please look at the new business. I mean, not new, like that. Whatever ways of doing business possible to maintain the business, even though we may not be making much of a margin, sell your stocks if you got stock because you want to go to cash. Please take care of your employees, right? If we need to outsource them, put them to places whereby there is work, do that. Reach out to competitors, reach out to partners, reach out to whoever you can reach, who have the resources to take the people. You may need to restructure your whole entire company, right? You may need to restructure, restart again. Some things about crowdfunding have been mentioned, right? Or maybe ask for, there's bound to be people out there who have cash, right? Just need to look for them. Now, the key thing here, and I want to go to a few questions that have been posted on the chat, right? Now, some of them are saying that what about this? I'm just going to read this. As for EPF, the government may need to start thinking employer and employee contribution for 4 to 6 months, right? I think what this person is saying is, what about, instead of putting money into EPF still, right? Why don't we just take that money out and allow the person to have a little bit more money to spend? Okay, so rather than contribute 11% or 12%, which makes up about 25%, 4%, why not just give us that money and allow us to spend? Because I think a lot of people are saying we are dying out here. So why put something for the future when we can't even survive the next week? Okay, any comments?
Would you like me to answer?
Please,
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Without this crisis, even without grabbing EPF money, all of Asia, but Malaysians in particular, are actually going to face a massive retirement crisis. I was called a few days ago.
Rajan, can you speak closer? Your sound is on and off.
Can you hear me?
Yes, better.
Okay, great. I was called by BFM Radio for a phone interview a few days ago for me to comment on the new guidelines that allow people to pull out 500 ringgit per month from account 2. My response then is the same as my response now. I think it's a very, 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 very good idea for those who absolutely have no choice. I'm old enough to actually have gone through the Asian financial crisis, and I remember thinking back then, back then I had a lot less money in EPF, but I remember thinking if I could tap into my EPF money, things would be so much easier. It was very tough to get through, but that wasn't allowed, and I didn't, and then the EPF money stayed and it grew. Now you have to understand that this crisis will pass. Most of us will not fall sick. Most of us who do fall sick will recover. You need to keep that in mind. Because of that, we can't just focus on today. We also need to focus on the decades to come. So I really don't want to see the government opening up everything and then having people leave their EPF, because if they do that, it'll be the poorest people who feel that they have no choice, and they will go ahead and then when the crisis passes,
who's okay? Go ahead. Sorry, someone has put their volume on. Okay, all right, go ahead. Rajan, can you hear?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you, Rajan.
Now?
Yeah, that's better.
Can I continue?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
When the crisis passes, what will happen is the poorest people would have depleted their EPF and they have nothing left. And those of us who are okay will be fine and we will continue. What will then happen is the gap between the country's poorest and the richest will actually get even wider. So I don't think any steps beyond what's already been okayed, the 500 ringgit per month from account 2, if you have enough money just to put it out, I don't think anything else should be done using EPF money. What I do think happen is this. I believe that in countries that have strong finances, countries like Norway, let's say, countries like Singapore, there's going to be a move towards some kind of universal basic income. And everyone gets money. I mean, Trump is talking about getting money into the hands of people with social security numbers. Now, unfortunately, in our case, now you told us not to be political, but I'm going to say this, and if I upset people, I don't really care. One of the reasons that Malaysia's internal finances are not as good as they could be is because of the kleptocracy that we saw 2 administrations ago. Right now, you talk about the amount of money that's being pumped into the Ministry of Health. And it's good that it's being done, but we're looking at numbers in the hundreds of millions of ringgit. What we should see happening is billions of ringgit flowing into the Ministry of Health. Why is that not happening? Because our finances are not as great as they could be. Now, part of the reason is because oil prices are low, and Malaysia represents the only country in Asia that is a net exporter of fossil fuel energy. That's petrol and gas. With the low prices, and the low prices I think will persist for a very long time. Even after this crisis, I think prices will remain low because you've got a massive oversupply, because it seems very clear that Russia and Saudi are focusing on making sure that America does not stay energy independent. America is energy independent because of the North American shale producers, the shale producers in the US and in Canada. During the crisis 5 years ago, when prices started to come down, shale producers were producing oil per barrel at between $90 and $100 per barrel. At that time, I actually in public shared this opinion, saying that I think the North Americans will innovate and the price will come down. I said I see very little innovation coming out of the Arabs, out of the Middle East. All they do basically is just hire brains from the West and then hire muscle from South Asia. But in terms of contribution to the world, I see nothing. So it turned out to be correct. What's happened is the North Americans have brought the shale producing costs down to $45 per barrel. I think it is in the interest of the Russians and in the Saudis to make sure that pumping continues at a high enough level to keep the shale producers in real difficulty. So oil prices are stay low, and that's going to continue to hurt Malaysia's finances. So as much as I would like to see greater help from the government, I understand that its ability to help is limited. So we have to help ourselves.
Right, that's a very good point. So everyone, please remember, we are not just facing a COVID-19. We are actually facing, on a global basis, a trade war. We are facing also an oil war. I'm not sure what else lurks behind. As Rajan likes to say, black swan, black swan, black swan. Okay, so very quickly, I'm just going to go back to some of the questions that are down here. One person actually asked this question. Yes, the bank has given grants and automatic moratorium to all loan repayment for the next 6 months. However, they have not done it for institutions like Teck, BMW Credit, so all the credit, smaller credit firms that gives loans out for cars and things like that. So just wondering, Keng Teck and Dr. Chua, any chance of maybe them doing that? Or Keng Teck, you know anyone who can pass that message on? Because, I mean, like I know one of my clients, what they do is they lend money for cars, and I know Rajan may say for what, no? They actually lend money for cars and motorbikes to B40 who have been rejected by the banks, okay? And these people that I know, I work with them, they actually make quite a lot of revenue in a year because these people have been rejected by the bank. But the problem now is this: these are the ones who really can't afford to pay. And the banks have been given the moratorium. They have not, I mean, BNM has not given it to these other people. So is there any way that we can get the message out that these are the real ones who may need some help? But then if you do that, I'm not sure what will happen to that leasing company as well.
On my side, I'm not pretty sure because I was supposed to go to the Ministry of Finance last 2 days, but due to family matters, I didn't went over there. But it's a very good suggestion because these are the financial that has been, as you mentioned, has been lending to the B40, and they are the one who is badly affected. And I can only take this as a note, and then to see if we have the chance to engage with the ministry again, we will actually recommend that as well.
Okay.
Rajan?
Anything? Dato, anything?
Yes, I think the Bank Negara announced that they only can do to those the bank under the Bank Negara. Those under the personal, the company, and the Bank Negara have no right over them. But I think for those, I think those people like those corporation and also think they at end of the day they will follow the same step of what the bank do, and also think they will be on my view. And should I continue to talk on the other things?
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
I continue to just now your question on that. On this, what are the thing? I also wanted to share a bit on this.
Share a little bit. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, for this crisis, in Chinese, this case crisis is a Weiji. So crisis is not only on the dangerous. It's also have to look into the opportunity. So I also wish and hope that the SME should look for the opportunity and also think. So what type of opportunity you are talking about? The opportunity, it can be on the merger and acquisition. For those people, they cannot survive, although those people who still got a strong cash flow, these are the opportunity to merge those have a synergy among themselves, and also think that will make them survive in that manner. So I stop here. I will come back to share more. How about the other country do and also think.
Okay, a quick one for all of you. I know we are suffering, right? I know all of us are suffering. But however, let's ask this question. What about the big boys? Have you heard anything about the listed entities? You know, in the last few days, someone called in, say something about listed entities. Because end of the day, we must understand, if the big boys in Malaysia are very badly affected, well, the small boys, we really rely on them a great deal. So what can be done here, really? So any news from the big boys? But everyone has been quiet, the stock market is down, so what's happening here?
You mentioned about the stock market. I just I share a bit on that, because the stock market down is not because only the substance of the company affected. It's also depend on the pressure on the selling and also thing. So if you look at the positivity, it's a look at opportunity as well. And those big boy, those big company, they are still strong in financial. They are still continue making more money, like a glove company, and also think their share price are still going up. And to stop that, I think this SC just announced on the Bursa just move in for the next 6 months for the margin call, because what happened will be under this kind of pandemic. So when the pandemic, everybody wanted the cash, sell the share. So when the share price go up to a certain level, what will happen? For those people, owner who pledge their share to to finance margin finance, then they will become a margin call. Then they will to force sell. So make it the share market getting worse and worse. It's not because the particular company are not doing well and also things. So I think the Bursa Malaysia have moved in to stop those for the next 6 months, and hopefully the share market will stabilize and also think. So to me, I think so look into the opportunity to invest in those big boy, those big company who are not affected, or not only not affected, they were benefited from this pandemic situation. Yeah, back to yes.
Can I
Yes,
add,
please. Yes.
Based
Okay,
on
and
what-
now I'll go back to you, Keng Teck, in a moment. Rajan, let's go.
Should I go ahead?
Please,
Yes, yes,
please,
go ahead.
Rajan. Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Okay.
Rajan.
The advice I'm going to give now is predicated upon my base case scenario, which is by August, things are going to look very, very good. And for most of us in August, even though I think our ability to travel and the kind of scans we have to subject ourselves to, all of those will be quite tough. But we will begin to move better and there'll be so much pent-up demand. I actually am very optimistic. But while I believe we will get through this crisis, I also am absolutely certain that another crisis is coming. I don't know whether that crisis is 2 years away or 10 years away or 11 years away or 5 years away. I don't know. But I do know that if we extract the correct lessons from this crisis, if we sit down and say, why am I afraid? Why am I vulnerable? And we write those things down and we say, okay, when times get better, in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, in a year, in 2 years, when business is roaring and everything is okay, I will remember what I went through and I will be prepared. So let me give you some guidelines, okay? Among the 100 people of us here today, many of us are hurting. Some of us actually see opportunities. What is the difference? Those who have got a lot of loans are under stress. Those who have very little in loans or no debt at all have less stress. Those who are able to tap into their current cash reserves will actually be able to remain standing. They'll be able to keep their staff. They won't need to go to VSS when all the people around them, all their previous competitors are shutting down. And there will be an opportunity to actually enlarge. I'm telling you this because this crisis will end. There will be a buildup and you want to be prepared. So when things get better, it's not helping you now, I understand. But when things get better, please try and remember this. Do your best to get out of debt as fast as you can. Do your best to grow your business slower rather than faster, using cash flow that you actually have. As you do that, build up your cash reserves. I had a late night meeting yesterday over WhatsApp video with clients who run a restaurant. And they were kind of freaking out until I asked them step by step, okay, what do you have? What can you pump in? And I actually pointed out to them, you're actually in much better shape than most people. So they're okay. But what I told them was when they come out of this crisis, because for them to maintain their restaurant, to be able to pay their staff, if revenue drops to zero, but they still maintain everything, it costs them 30,000 ringgit. Now that's a lot for some of you and very little for others, but I'm just going to use this. The advice that I gave is this: as you come out of this crisis, and if you don't want to be in this position again, what you want to do is in the business account, you want to try and decide whether you can first build up to 6 months of necessary operational expenses, and then to 1 year. 1 year under most circumstances, most crises will be enough. But if you're really paranoid, you aim for 2 years. Now, because you're looking at needing 30,000 ringgit, I said, you decide whether you want to actually put together 360,000 ringgit in cash in your business account that you add to every month from additional cash flow, excess cash flow, and then you build it from 360 to 720. I don't think there's a need to go beyond 2 years' money. Now that advice is radical. A lot of the finance professor type people there will actually be laughing at me saying, no, interest rates are very low, borrowing is good, etc., etc. I understand that. I do understand interest rate differential and yield differential and trying to make money. I understand that. I'm asking you, how frightened do you feel? And if you were unwise enough to actually go into the stock market on a margin basis, I won't make you feel worse, but I would urge you, once you get out of this, never, ever, ever again trade on margin. Ever. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Right. Keng Teck, let's go.
Yes.
Right.
What?
Before that, anyone, if you want to ask questions to the panelists, if you see in the participants list, if you click that, you see a yes button, just put in yes, I will get to you, okay? I will unmute you in a moment. Let's go, Keng Teck. Thank you.
Okay, what the question is again? Can you just repeat that again?
Sorry?
Your
No.
question.
Yeah, what? No, I'm saying, first of all, what I was asking is this: in terms of the businesses, the big boys, what have you heard from the big boys? Because I'm quite sure the big boys are also suffering, right? So at the big boys, their business, because most of us will probably serve them in some way or other. If they are suffering, we are suffering. So what do you see happening on the big boy side? What are some of the stories you have heard so far? Because if you are near to the ministry, I'm quite sure some of the big companies come to you guys and ask.
Okay. I don't deal with a lot of big boys, but some of them are our clients as well. Like, for example, I wouldn't quote the names. Okay, some of them are big in terms of that they are big factories, they are big supplies of the packaging companies who supplies to all these SMEs, food and so forth. Now, the thing is that right now, when they are able to operate their manufacturing, okay, the demand is there. Okay. The small guys might not be able to operate immediately. The resources is limited, but the big guys, they are actually leveraging. This is where that the demands are. It's not about the big or small guys. It is about the big guys are more ready to capture the market opportunity because the system, the process, and the people are there. When they want to reap the benefit from the market sentiments, as what Doctor has mentioned, and in any changes, there is opportunity and there's threats. And when you are more ready, they are actually leveraging on that. They're producing more right now, but with lesser people. They're trying to actually tackle this by already looking at the foreign market demand, because right now it is then a full worldwide pandemic that they are getting their capacity ready. Okay, part of it is to continue to supply. The other side, they are actually getting ready to actually expand their capacity, because once this is over, this is where they can actually secure the most of the project in the shortest time period. That is what I heard in the market. Yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you. If someone is asking, China is gradually opening their market, so is it a good place to be, well, putting our money in?
I answered it shortly. Putting the money in, of course, yes, but you have to know that a lot of people have went to China. The market is not as easy as we thought. Of course, the demand is there and so forth, but going into the market, your capacity would be one issue. If you do not have enough capacity, the China will actually, they can do it by themselves. So I think that what is more important to think of is that what do you have, what can you do best that can penetrate the China market, instead of just putting your effort to just go in and penetrate the market. We have to realize what is our values that we can offer. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Quick question again, right? Someone asked, I'm quite sure this has been answered before. I just want to make sure that this question is asked for the clarity of everyone, right? I'm going to put it as a two-part question. Someone is asking, can we request our staff to take annual leave during this MCO, which I know the answer is no, right? Then the other question that I want to put to is this, okay? What can you do? Okay, many thanks. I'm just going to read it out. Pertaining to, okay, good morning and many thanks for the fantastic idea to secure the SME. Pertaining to those staff salary above 2,000, no longer under labor law. Can we explore a way to resolve it on our own? Because some of course, a lot of people here will probably be earning above 2,000. So what can we do with this group of people? Dato, since you addressed some of it.
I think by law it's difficult, especially at this MCO difficult period. But we have a couple of case. Just go to the Zoom meeting and discuss with them how to compromise and get it off. I just share with you, one of the property agents, they say, my goodness, now those property agents, those are in the pay full time, and also think what are them going to do? I cannot continue paying them 3,000, 4,000 every month. For next 3-4 months, my company will go broke because there is no income coming in. So I just share some what the end result. So end result, they already talk to those under the full time payroll on their property and the sales and marketing and all sort of thing. So they allocate certain thing to them. For example, they got some property management, rental management income, the rental still can continue. So they will assign certain portfolio for those people to do, and also to convert some of them to become this commissions-based so-called commission-based agent and all sort of things. So I think there's no straightforward answer for that. But of course, when you start talking to all the employee, I think that they are human too. They understand the situation. They will come together to see how they're going to resolve. Because end of the day, by law, if the company cannot survive, automatically it's insolvent, then you have to close down. Once you close down, it's all gone. So I think this is a time all the employees should work together with their management and see how to resolve the issue. That will be my advice. But if we're talking about just target on certain person to get rid of this, I think that is wrong the timing. But under the labor law, they wouldn't stop you of the so-called employee performance and everything. Even though it work from home, you are still subject to 9 to 5 working hour. Employers still can monitor them, their performance and also things. So if already they are not doing anything and from home and sleeping and also things, of course the employer still got the right to give them a proper so-called warning, counseling, and end the day they were day off under the normal process. That would be my points.
Can I add a suggestion, please?
Yes, please go. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very, a lot of the companies are focusing on saving costs on the human resource, but I like to urge the SMEs especially to be very careful in implementing that. Now, in one company, they are performing employees and non-performing employees. And if you say that, okay, let's say, for example, the salary of those that more than 4,000 of them, should we negotiate and so forth? In my opinion, during this period of time, one of the options is that if that employee is performing and they are very dedicated to your companies, try to keep them by maybe telling them that, well, I can offer you some basic, a small portion of the shareholding or profit sharing and so forth, but there's no salary. Would you be able to weather the storm together with us? If yes, if the employee actually stay with you, willing to stay with you and move on together, that employee will be very dedicated and they will help you to grow after this COVID-19. But if let's say right now, just because of the money issues of the salary that you cannot pay them, can we just reduce your salary? But reducing salary, they wouldn't be able to live their daily life. Then what they will do, they will actually resign. And what happened is that after these 3 months, your employees will be your competitor. And that is the worst case that you want to be. So I don't urge the SMEs to go to the extent to actually negotiate with the employees to reduce their salary, because you will actually reduce their commitment, their passion towards the company, and I would think that you will kill the sense of loyalty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Quick question to all of you. A lot of banks have released their moratorium, whatever rules and conditions yesterday night, right? Because of all these things that's happening, a lot of people have said, okay, I'm not paying my loans, I'm going to defer everything for 6 months. Will there be a credit crunch on the banking side that, end of the day, even when you want to take a loan from them, you gotta go, okay, this is what I expect from you. This is all the criteria, because I need to heighten the criteria because I myself is facing a credit crunch, right? Anyone want to answer that question? Because
I'll leave it to the financial expert.
Financial expert, what do you think?
Sorry, who's answering?
Right. Yeah, I'm putting you on, Rajan.
Okay, great. I tell you what, Jeremy, come back to that banking question in a moment. I want to deal with something that Keng said. I think is connected. He suggested that if you've got very good staff, you actually go to them and say, look, would you be open to a profit share agreement? I'll stop your salary, but in effect, you will end up becoming a shareholder. Keng Teck, is that correct? That's what you suggested?
Yes, correct.
So, and the truth of the matter is, even really dedicated staff who would like to be able to take up that opportunity, take up that challenge, may actually have no choice because there are bills to be paid and there is no way to survive without a salary.
Yep.
Whereas that individual ended up actually having reserves in place, then he or she would be able to say yes in a heartbeat. Therefore, again, my optimistic view that by August, things are going to be okay. Before that, there will be a ramping up, we'll be all right. Now, one of the things that many of you can do as the heads of SMEs is to actually make a commitment as the leaders of your organizations, as the people that, as the key people that your staff, your business partners look to for leadership. And if when things are better, you actually reach out to, I'm very careful not to be promoting my own stuff. So reach out maybe to organizations like the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. And when things get better, go and check. I mean, depending on where you are, in Penang or in Sabah or in Sarawak or in KL or in JB or wherever else, reach out to financial planners who are in that vicinity and run financial literacy programs. Because if you're then able to do that, you will find that your people end up in better shape down the road, so that the next crisis, which will come, there will be a black swan, but by definition, we don't know what that black swan will be. When that happens, more of your good people will actually be in good shape. And if you ever have to make that same offer, which I thought Keng Teck was a genius suggestion, very, very good. If you ever need to make that proposal, they'll be in better shape. So that's my answer to what Keng Teck was saying. Jeremy, a banking question, what was it?
The banking question is this, right? With all the bank giving all this moratorium, will there be a credit crunch later on? Because the banks are saying no one is paying any of their loans. We still pay our bills. Yet a lot of people say we earn millions every single year. But guess what? We are giving so much out. What's going to happen next?
Got it.
So
Okay.
Will there be a credit crunch? Are we facing one?
I don't think so, for two reasons.
Okay.
Bank Negara has a very, very big stick that it usually covers in velvet cloth, so to speak. There is a phrase called moral suasion, where Bank Negara says to the banks, we would like you to. That's all it says. And everyone would say, sir, whatever you want.
Yes, correct.
So I used to be, a really long time ago, more than 25 years ago, I used to be an investment analyst with Standard Chartered Securities. And what I discovered back then is that when you're analyzing the banking sector, a loan is considered to be an NPL, non-performing loan.
Yes.
If you hit 3 months, non-payment in timely manner, you got a problem. But all Bank Negara needs to do is to say, we are changing the rules of the game. And it only becomes an NPL at 6 months or 9 months. And between now and then, we urge you to work with your customers to actually restructure loans. So do you remember Dato Chua earlier was saying that with the credit cards, if you got no choice, both he and I basically said, try and pay off your credit card bills. In terms of the moratorium, go with cars first. Best thing is don't do anything. Just keep paying your stuff if you got money. Okay. You need to get some kind of relief. Do the cars first, then do cars and house. And last of all, you deal with the credit cards. With the credit cards, if I remember correctly, what Dato Chua said was, you're going to go from the 18% is nominal. If it's 1.5% per month, 18% per year, nominal, but charged every day on an APR basis, annualized percentage rate, we're looking at 19.7%. It's a lot of money.
Oh.
If you can get that down to 13%, that's good. But later, if you can get that restructured down to a much cheaper term loan, get that done. But the long run solution
Hold on, Rajan, don't mind. Everyone, can you please off your videos, right? Because there's some funny things coming through.
Who's that? You want me to switch off my video?
No, not the four of you, right? The three of us are fine. Can the rest of you please off your videos because there's some funny thing coming through, okay? And I can't find the person, right? Continue, Rajan, thanks.
I lost my train of thought, but basically,
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
you remember the last thing I said?
No, I don't, because I'm not looking.
Nobody was listening, so I can stop anytime. No, but basically, as long as Bank Negara changes the games, the rules of the game, I don't think we're going to hit the credit crunch. On top of that, Bank Negara exercises moral suasion and says, by the way, we would really like you to increase your lending to these sectors. The banks will go and scramble. Now, of course, if Bank Negara becomes too loose, then we're going to end up with a real problem where people are taking out what used to be called in America in the 07, 08, 09 global financial crisis as liar loan, where the bankers did not have to ask for proof of income. They just say, you just fill out the form, whatever you tell me, I will believe. And people lied through their teeth saying they're making a fortune, which is why we ended up with the subprime crisis. So I hope that helps. I don't think there's going to be a credit crunch. I think everything boils down to how Bank Negara loosens the rules for the banks.
Okay, right.
Okay. Yeah, just want to continue with that. I think if you look at the Bank Negara, whether this a credit crunch or not, I've spoken to my banker friend. They will be saying that, in fact, this is also the other way of giving up the loan. Remember that the 6-month moratorium, it doesn't mean that you don't need to pay interest. So to the bank, they are not suffering. They continue earning their interest. So what they are most worried will be, they are worried about those defaulted, those cannot pay. These are the issue. So moratorium to the bank is not an issue. They should be happy automatically. Every month they got billions of loan giving out because they charge interest. This is the first point. Second point will be a bank is after the announcement of special relief loan of I think it's 2 billion, and this banker are calling us. Can you please help us to look for the those SME, SMI? Those are a good account. Those are good paymaster. We want them quickly come to apply. They can give out up to $1 million. I think bank will give out about 100 to 400,000. They are already rushing for people, the good customer, to apply because they have to fulfill a certain quota and to lend the money to the good customer. Important is to the right borrower. So this is their business. So they charge 3.75%. We urge and encourage our SME, SMI quickly file in all the documents to the bank for the processing. It will be without this special loan. You don't need to donate collateral and also thing. They just give you a loan under the CGC. Then the next question, the SME phase will be said, now under lockdown, how am I going to submit in all their document and everything? Yes, they are very, I think they're able to do it. I say, okay, whatever you have, you want the auditor report for the last 3 years, okay, we email to you, the email copy is good enough. Your tax, personal tax receipt, yes, we can email to you because you're online, we email to you and also thing. Then come to the couple of things, application form need to sign and everything. I said, not worry. We just send to you, you just sign and you scan back and everything fine on time. For those SME you have not done yet, please quickly get it done. I was told the fund were going to be finished off by this application very soon, maybe another week or plus, they will be all gone. That will be my share on this the crisis thing.
I have just submitted my application.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're talking about the special release facilities, right? The 2 billion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So everyone, if you hear that, it's 3.75% special release facility. Please go to your bank. The money is there, but Dato is saying a lot of people are applying for it. Well, this is just to make sure that the business keeps on going. But please also remember what Rajan is saying, right? Do not get yourself into more loans unnecessarily unless you are very sure you know what you are doing. Okay? If you do not have this knowledge, please go and get yourself some financial lessons. Now, as I mentioned to everyone earlier, okay, very quickly, if you want to ask any question, just put yes, go to the participant side, put yes, there should be, just click yes, and I'll see you and I'll be able to be unmute you so that you can ask a question. Now, we got a few more minutes left, and I think we've got maybe about 10-15 minutes left. You don't mind, speakers, I'm just going to wrap it up if no one's asked any questions. But there's one question I would like to address here, which is this, okay? This is from, hold on. Yes. Okay, Zora asked to the panelists with the crystal ball in front of you, what top 3 insights and learning do you foresee in terms of the workforce, the business model, and the infrastructure moving forward? Because I think a lot of us are going to see a big difference in the way we work. Very simply put, some of us will be cooped up in a house for 1 whole month. Working patterns will change. The way we do business will change. And I've been telling people this in some of my training classes because I do things like IR 4.0 and things like that. I've been telling people in my classes, I've been telling them things like, no, you see a lot of buildings being built. You see a lot of offices being built. Do you think that's really necessary? Aren't we going to more home at work kind of concept? And I think this suddenly pushed everything to the forefront. So in terms of business model, workforce, infrastructure, what are some of the key changes you see? What are some of the 3 insights you can give us, right? Anyone would like to go first?
I'm happy to.
Yeah, please, Rajan.
Go ahead.
Okay. For me, I think that, okay, a lot of people see it as very negative things is happening. But for the SME, this period of time, I think it would tremendously change the way that how SME has been doing. SME has been lagging behind, feeling complacent and so forth. So with this situation, I think that SMEs right now has really realized the importance of, number 1, is that the cash flow and financial planning is something that is very weak, before for the SMEs, that for the future, I think that they would be smarter in terms of that. Number 2, SMEs would definitely be adopting the technology even faster after this period of time, because right now they are forced to actually communicate via the online. They are forced to use technology to do their business. So there's no time for them to wait. So it will actually expedite that. And of course, last but not least, the importance of how to actually manage our team members in working in a virtual environment and going global without actually physically going to the other countries to do business. I think these few things would be able to, will be happening very soon. It has brought forward Malaysian SMEs that before this crisis, they might think that they can wait. But right now, within 1 year time, I believe within 1 year time, most of the SMEs will be preparing themselves for this. I think it's a good thing that is going to happen on that positive side. Thank you.
Thank you. Very quickly, Dato and Rajan, because I've got another 2 more persons who have raised, who put yes, so I want to get to them. Right, just to let you know who you are, I'll unmute you once this question is finished. Yaling012 and also I believe it's Jessie. Jackie Lau, I will come to you too, and then after that we'll wrap it up. Are we okay, speakers?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let's go, right? Who wants to go next?
Okay, so let me just say this. From the very beginning, the theme has been build up your cash, get out of debt. Just in the last 1.5 weeks, in addition to the vast majority of my clients who have been communicating me via phone or video calls or whatever in Malaysia, I have spoken and tried to help clients who are in the US, in Australia, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. The world is getting smaller, and I actually have a very, very small practice. I only accept a few new clients per year. I'm very, very careful. I think I've got 1 client on this call. So Jonathan, hi, you're still here. The issue is that we understand that we will get through this crisis. We just survive, and want to make sure that when the next crisis hits, you're in better shape. Not just you, but your people as well. So please build links between your SME and the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia, fpam.org.my. The CEO's name is Lynette Lee. And if she suddenly gets a barrage of calls or queries or whatever, you say, Rajan Devadasan mentioned your name, it's his fault. But, you know, take this very, very seriously. And I believe that if you structure and restructure your finances in time, so that effectively, let's say you own your business. So for your finances and for your finances as well as for your business, you can move to the point where you are becoming your own banker. The next time the crisis hits, you will be in better shape. Your stress levels will be lower. Okay.
Dr. Rajan, if you can connect us next time, I think that we can actually do some events together with SME Association in Malaysia, so that we can actually create more awareness about the financial planning side.
Perfect. So Keng Teck, you want to be great, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Sorry. Rajan, anything else?
Yes. Just as far as Keng Teck is concerned, immediately after this call, what I want you to do is to just drop me a line personally. So just save your number, drop me a line, remind me. I'm going to be busy for the rest of the day. Then I'll put you in touch with Lynette at FBAM.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, we are extending the time a little bit. I hope you don't mind. Okay, quick one. Okay, Dato.
Yeah, I just want to share, I don't have a crystal ball here, but just to share that I've seen Malaysia is not the first country who hit by the COVID. And you look at the UK, they pay the employed, those affected by COVID, 80% of salary were paid by the government. In Australia, my branch, my son running this poverty management, they just called me 2 days ago. Say, oh, Dad, this is wonderful. You know that the government give us 20,000 for do nothing. So that means that you are a small SME. I think the government will start giving you something. So what are the crystal ball they are talking through? So I just share with you a couple of points here. Under the Malaysia Employer Federation, what are they are looking for? They send in the what they call memorandum to the MOH. I think our today Prime Minister going to announce the second economic stimulation package. So what they are looking for? First, they are looking for the EPF was reduced from this contribution by the employer from 12% maybe to down to 5%. This are looking for. Secondly, they also looking for the exemption for all the employer and employee to exempt, do need to pay the EPF and the the SOPSO for the next 6 months. And thirdly, on the HRDF fund, they also saying that they should stop totally for the 6-month period and also thing. And this request is nothing new. In 2014, there's a monsoon season at time the government have adopt that the HRDF fund stopped for 6-month contribution. And on the other one, they also, just now we're talking about restructuring of personal loan, this one already announced. And then also the other thing, one of my customer very badly. They have a lot of outlet in this shopping center, more than 100 and also thing. So with this crisis, what are they going to do? This electricity, water, all this utility, they should be ready. I know now, currently do by 2%, not enough. They will be proposed to do 25%. And hopefully from the shopping center owner, will able to reduce their rental or even no wait for, like Sunway, I think they announced the wait for the 14 days. And what are the SME business relief they can look for? They also talk about what they call the government basically have to look at the 6 areas. First area is really have to reducing the unemployment and increase the opportunity. The second area is easing the economic burden of the people. Then the third one, supporting the private sector. The fourth, undertaking capacity building for the future. And of course, the last one, supporting the SME and also the informal business activity that are suffer under the COVID. That will be they are talking by this MEF. They also request that the tax installments should stop for 6 months and also think review of the tax rate from the individual and the corporate and also waiver of assessment of this property rate for the next half. And last but not all, but not this, I think this one is very positive. Review of the SST. I think the introducing of GST were coming in. They also put a figure that if you increase by 4% of the GST, the government can come in extra 3.8 billion for the country, because the government got a lot of things to do. Look at the Singapore side. Singapore have been running just announced yesterday. Singapore have been announced a deficit budget for 7.9% of the GDP, and also scrapping property tax for those widest hit like hotel, restaurant, and shop, and also things. Spending wages support for the business who are affected. So I think in Malaysia government, hopefully today we have a good news to be announced by our current Prime Minister in that. That way on my side.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to let a few people speak at the moment, right? Two-person, Yaling 012, I'm letting you go first. Then I'll come to you, Jackie. Yeah? Gentlemen, we just got to take another 10 more minutes and we're going to wrap it up, okay? I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you very much. Right, so Yaling, please, you're unmuted.
Hi.
Yes, okay, please very quickly tell us who you are, and also very quickly state your question and let the panelists answer it. Okay, that's all.
Hi, Dato, and hi, everybody. Good morning. I think everybody also facing the same crisis, not only SME, for those big firms as well, and also the big industry. My question is, first thing, if let's say we are exploring on the 4,000, the staff who are actually above 2,000, when we talking and have a proper negotiation with them, with all this procedure by informing the office.
Can you please repeat the question, Yaling, very quickly? Yeah. Hello, Yaling.
The question is, now the share markets, yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, yeah.
Yes.
The second question, maybe I would like to phrase it to Mr. Rajan, that right now the share market is actually up to the reaching the minimum or the bottom line. So it's
Can't hear the question.
The blue chip.
Sorry, I
can get that.
Okay,
Okay, Yaling, I have to. Okay,
Thank you.
Yaling, I'm just going to put you on mute because we really can't hear you, right? But what if you're asking the question?
Yes, at her question, I'll give a quick answer. Will that be all right?
Yeah. I think what she said was, I think she's one of those people, one of the person who asked, the share market seems very ripe to go in now if you have some cash. So should I go in?
Answer that question. I'm not sure what the full question was, but let me just say this. The market has been strengthening off the back of, I think, the irrational bounces in the US, which will be driven by the huge stimulus that's going in. But a lot of this buying, whether it be in the US or around the world, is probably being generated by computers. If you look at the reality of the situation, in the days and in the weeks ahead, the COVID-19 infection rates are actually going to continue to spike. And because of that, I don't see on a global basis much reason for a great deal of optimism just yet. I think if we wait till maybe late April or early May, and you take the view that, again, by August, I always go back to August, if for you being fully invested in a diversified portfolio, and by fully diversified, can you mute whoever's making noise? If you actually have a diversified portfolio having cash, fixed income, bonds, and then equities, stocks, investment real estate, brick and mortar, but also REITs, real estate investment trusts, direct as well as REIT funds, and then alternatives, all kinds of things, but commodities I really like. So basically the risk on would be equities, REITs, and commodities, for instance. Risk off reasonably would be cash and bonds. If in normal circumstances, your risk on position is 80%, so you only have a little bit of liquidity or 80%, I would recommend that not from now, but say from sometime in April, maybe mid-April or late April, you begin to build up your weighting to get to around about 80% by August. So if you are now at 20%, only gradually increase to 30 to 40, because I think there will be plenty of opportunity for the markets to dip. So personally, I am not moving into the market just yet.
Okay, right. I'm just got, as I said, I want to spend some, let one more person ask the question. Okay, Jackie, are you ready? Jackie? I'm unmuting you now. Right, she's not there. She's not there. Okay, all right. I'm not sure why. I can't get to her. Zora, you put your question up. Do you want to ask a question? So if you want, I'm going to unmute you in a moment. Okay?
No, it's been asked already. Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, cool. Zora, oh, your question's answered, huh? Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. So in that case, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Very quickly, any last word of advice for any of us? Any last word of advice for any of us? Okay.
Yep.
Please remember, as what Dr. Chua was saying, there will be some announcement by the Prime Minister, I think, tonight, later this evening. Please listen, it's supposed to be more stimulus. Dato Chua had given us a little bit of an insight about what some of the Employees Association are asking for, right? Let's see what happens there, right? But before we end, any of you, right? Any last insights? Let's start with you, Teck. You look as though you're ready to say something.
Okay. For me, I would like to appeal to everyone, whether you are SMEs or non-SMEs. Right now, in this current crisis, we should share the responsibilities. And right now is the time to for survival and collaborate with each other. Not so much of thinking about profit making. We need to actually care for each other. It is the only way that we can survive this crisis, that if we help each other, the companies to survive, then the economy will rebound. If we just thinking about us, we just wanted to operate and other people not operating and a lot of people going out to the street, then this crisis would prolong and everyone would suffer. So my final words is that to appeal for everyone, try to stay home. If you are in the essential goods, go ahead and apply. Right now you can apply already, but go ahead and operate those who have gotten the approval with minimal employees, and others please stay at home so that we can actually have this crisis ended sooner possible. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, right. So I think Keng Teck just answered the question of one of the people who asked whether how do they do the export and application. He had mentioned we cannot apply for the time being. It's been stopped. No? Okay, so right back to gentlemen, right? Rajan, you'll go next, and then I'll go to Dato at the very end. Okay, let's go.
Okay, to get through the crisis, raise cash, use the unexpected strength in the markets to sell some stuff to raise some of your personal cash. Once we are through the crisis, continue to build cash reserves for yourself and for your business. But in the long run, for your personal finances to be able to fund the future, you want to stay invested in equities, you want to stay invested in REITs, you may want to have a little bit in commodities, etc. But it must be part of an overall plan that involves, I would expect, bonds and cash as well. And perhaps the most important thing is do your best to prepay your loans when things get better. Do your best to get out of debt and stay out of debt.
Get out of debt and stay out of debt. No? Okay, right. Dato, final words.
I just sum up a bit. Today's announcement is 3 p.m. by our Prime Minister. And to sum up, I would say we have to look forward and look positive. And a few things I would say that, look, for the staff is the main issue. I urge all the SME, SMI, please apply those performance-based methodology like the KPI to measure the staff performance even though they work from home. And secondly, please also invest in technology. For example, very simple thing, account, you can use in the crowd accounting like Zero. It's only cost you 200 ringgit a month and the kind of thing. So at least you can continue to do your accounting, to do your to issue your invoice, to come to your debtor aging, creditor aging, and also thing. Then the last thing will be the business model. Think out of the box, how to be innovative, how to do the business differently, even though you are at home. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, right, gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us for the last 100 minutes or so. It's been a pleasure, and I hope the best for everyone here. What I'm going to do next is very simple. I'm just going to launch the last poll, feedback on the session. So please give your feedback on how you found the session. It's launching now. If it's been helpful to you, please stay. If it's not been helpful to you, please also stay, right? On a final note, Keng Teck has mentioned, please stay at home. If there's no need to go out, do not go out. However, if you're going out like myself, I've been to the bank in the last 3 days. If you need to go to the bank, go to the bank, right, to do what you need to do. And remember, if you want to borrow, borrow with care, okay? Because, well, it may not look as rosy, but Rajan is very optimistic. By August, everything is going to be not fantastic, but better than, much better than now. Flying, he says, it's going to fly, okay? Please, everyone, take care, right? With that, thank you very much. And on behalf of the ATCEN team, we truly appreciate you for sharing your insights with us, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right.
All the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, King Teck sir. Hey, Sunway.
Still a lot of people there.
Right. Right, everyone who is still on, please fill up the feedback form. It's going to be okay. 36 voted. Okay, 39 voted. I need, right? It's very fast. For those of you who are still on, thank you very much for being here with us. We really appreciate it. We will be sharing the session. We are recording it. We will be sharing the session later. Right? I'm stopping the record now. Right? Stopping the record now. Thank you very much for being such good